So in this advanced topic, we're going to cut up a cart path. And you can use this to cut up just about any shape. So you might run into your situation where you may need to make some changes, or there's a couple specific things. I think it makes more sense just jump into Inkscape and I can show you. So if you followed my overhead image creator video, this was the result, which we found that this end of the cart path right here, we didn't put it in the right spot. And if I decide that I want to change this, the problem here is that when I go into this cart path, this is now a path now. It's no longer a spline. So if I go to change this, I can't really move it like a spline because I already changed it. And there's no way I can convert this back to a spline. I'm sorry, to a stroke. I should be saying stroke, not a spline. So that creates a problem. So now I can either I either have to delete this whole thing and redo it again, which I really don't want to do. This is a fairly significantly long path here. Or I can cut it, this section, and just redo this section and then join everything back together. I like that idea a little bit better. So let me show you how you would do that. So let me highlight this. Actually, first, before I do that, let me make sure I'm on hole 98, and I'm going to create another shape that's going to show where I want to cut this. So I want to cut it right about here. So I'm going to create this other shape right where I want to cut this cart path. So let's say right about there. I'm going to go straight across it to make it nice and clean. And I probably should have done the same thing over here, make it a little bit straighter. And I can always edit this. Let me come over here and let me edit that. Now, this would not be a shape that I want to send through Blender because I really mucked it up. But for our purposes, it's going to be fine. I got this sharp edge here. Click away. Yeah, so that looks like it's going straight across there, and this is going and this whole thing, it covers the whole thing. So cool. So when we perform a cut, the object on the top is always going to cut the object underneath. So if we select our cart path here, let's actually go to our pointer tool, and let's select our cart path. We hold down Shift, and now we select this shape that we're using to cut, and we're going to come up here to Object, up to Path, and we're going to do Division. So it says cut the bottom path into pieces. I'm going to click that, and you can see that the shape I drew is now gone. It gets deleted, right? So that's really important to remember that. However, what we are left with are 3 different shapes now. So I got this one, right? I got this one, which is the one we want to cut out, and then I got the top one here. So all I'm going to do is now go down to this middle one, and I'm going to delete it. Now it's gone, and now that I can repair this. So I'm going to pause this, and I'll show you. I'm going to respline this. You don't have to watch me do that, and then I'll show you how we pull it all back together again. So I created my new cart path. It's right here, and let me just turn this on and off so you can see what I did. And I got it as close as possible to these ends that I want to connect. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to my pointer tool. I'm going to highlight this piece here, the piece I just created, in this big long piece on the other side. I'm going to go up the path. I'm going to go union. And now it just joined all these together. However, we need to make sure that we don't have any funky pieces. And I can see one here. I always go to where I connected that stuff at. Back up here. So you can see here, that does not look right. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm definitely going to have some double node issues. So let me zoom in a little closer and highlight one of these. And you know what I'm doing? I'm just going to delete that guy. Now I should have just, looks like there might be 1 or 2 left in. Yeah, definitely was a double node there. So this is the stuff you got to be really careful about. I'm just going to readjust this to make it look good. It looks like there's another one right here. Yep. I need to adjust this to make it look decent. So now that's looking nice and smooth. Let me go down to the other end here where we joined it. You can see right here, wherever we join these, we got to be very careful to get rid of these funky areas that happen, these sharp corners. Let me just move so that looks like a single there. This is definitely a kinked up double here. Looks like there's two that are pretty close to each other, so I'm just going to delete one of them and then drag this back out so that these aren't so. I don't like the looks of this one. This still looks a little sharp. Let me delete that. And then what I can do is I can go in here and I can double click. That's going to add a node back in. Now I got a nice fresh node here. I'm going to change this to a rounded. They give me less problems. Same thing with this one. I'm going to change it to a rounded auto node, and that looks much better. This needs to be a little bit thicker. Yeah, pretty solid at that point. I'm happy with that. So now we got a single cart path. Another use case for this dividing up, let's say you hate these loops and you don't like doing them in Blender. You could also create, let's go back to hole 98. We'll do our draw here. And let's say there's a spot here, like over here, no one's probably going to see it. It's not really near anything. I could just draw a really quick shape right here. And then I could even make that thinner, right? Now I'm going to highlight my cart path and highlight that shape with Shift, Path, Division. And now what I can do is I can highlight this little spot here. Where is it? There it is. I can just delete it. And now what do we have here, which is we do not have a loop anymore. It's easier to see if I do this. If we zoom in, I no longer have a loop. I might want to clean up these edges a little bit so they're not so sharp. Probably won't give me a problem because it's pretty clean cut. But we'd have to run it through in Blender. But now I don't have to remove this face. So that's just another, if you really hate the idea of removing these faces, well, you can just break it apart like I did.